Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Hope your day and your week have been going very well so far. Got a new day, which of course means a new MLB Player Prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day comes some new opportunities to go ahead and make some money. I have 5 MLB Player Props to go ahead and share with you guys in today's MLB slate. But first, guys, before we dive into today's picks, a quick little recap of how we did last night. And overall, guys, it was a solid night, I guess you could say. We went 3-2 last night. We did cash on the Jesse Winker, Josh Jung, and Freddie Freeman picks. We did miss the mark on Brent Rooker and Steven Kwan. Kwan did have a hit, unfortunately did not have a run or an RBI, so that was a miss. But the Jesse Winker one was the plus money play. That was a cash. He actually crushed that line yesterday. But yeah, overall, a pretty solid night last night. 3-2, a very minor gain in terms of units, plus 0.30 units last night. We're still working our way back on the year to breaking even, getting back to profitable. With parlays and single bets included, we are still over 6 units in debt right now. But we're slowly, little by little, getting there, right? It's baby steps. Every day we're getting closer and closer. We're chipping away at that deficit. We're getting there slowly but surely. And the way we've been betting lately, even last night, like I said, last night wasn't a crazy profitable night, but it was still a profitable night. Even taking last night into consideration, we're having a pretty good run here. And I think we'll be back to breaking even and even profitable in no time. So let's keep the good times rolling here. We got 5 more player props today. Let's see if we can go ahead and build on what was a solid start to the week on yesterday's performance. All right, guys, we are jumping right into the outlier screen. Before I give my first pick, I want to give a little clap it up, little round of applause here for Outlier, the sponsor of today's video and the best sports betting tool on the market. Guys, MLB Player Prop betting is all about analytics, and Outlier gives you guys the best sports betting data that money can buy. And the best part is, when you use our link down below in the description, you get a 7-day free trial to go ahead and check it out for yourself. Everything you see in today's video, everything, if you watched my videos before, everything you've seen in my previous videos, it's all brought to you guys by Outlier. And I'm only giving you guys a taste of what Outlier provides. There's so much more to it that I just don't have the time to show you guys. You guys got to go ahead and check it out for yourself. Again, link down below in the description. 7-day free trial. Start making better sports bets today, and I promise you guys, they are going to turn you into a smarter and a more successful sports bettor using Outlier. So shout out to Outlier for sponsoring today's video. All right, guys, our first player prop in today's slate comes from the Yankees-Orioles game, 6:35 p.m. first pitch. We're going Ryan Mountcastle of the Baltimore Orioles under 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, minus 105 odds over on BetMGM. It is available on multiple sports books for varying odds. As always, guys, make sure to go ahead and shop around for the best sportsbook odds available to you. Minus 105 odds on BetMGM, and the data is fantastic. He's cashed the under in each of his last 10 games and has failed to even record a hit in each of his last 5 games. So really good run right now for us. Not so good for Ryan Mountcastle. So far this year, a 69, pause for applause, 69% hit rate on the year. 18 out of 26 games, he's cashed the under, averaging 1.27 hits, runs, RBIs per game this year. He's had a couple of good games this year, but he's cashed the under way more than he's cashed the over. And also from a head-to-head perspective, 9 of his last 14 matchups with the New York Yankees dating back to last year, he's cashed the under. That's a 64% hit rate, averaging 2 hits, runs, RBIs per game across the last 14 matchups with the Yankees. And honestly, that one big game on June 20th really helps his average go up, because besides that, there's a lot of games where he didn't even have a hit versus the Yankees. Now, they played one time so far this year, just yesterday. He had 0 hits, 0 runs, and 0 RBIs, and what was a 4-3 win for the Baltimore Orioles. And if you go and look down below at the key matchup stats, now Ryan Mountcastle versus Carlos Rodon has actually had some success. Now, it's a small sample size, only 5 plate appearances since 2018. And he's had success in those 5 plate appearances. 3 hits, a home run, a couple of RBIs, 600 OBP. Really good numbers. But again, it's only 5 plate appearances, so it's kind of a small sample size. However, I should note that in that small sample size, he's had a lot of success, so I have to be transparent with you guys. However, it doesn't really concern me because, A, the data I previously showed you, he's cashed the under in 10 straight games, a 69% hit rate this year on this under. And looking down below at the splits, it looks really good in our favor for the under. Mountcastle, again, not hitting the ball particularly well this year. Versus left-handed pitchers, it's actually even worse. A 179 batting average this year against left-handed pitchers, 43.5 WRC plus, so some nice decreases from his overall line. And Carlos Rodon, 289 ERA, 138 batting average allowed, 244 WOBA versus right-handed batters, which is a decrease from his overall numbers, which, by the way, even his overall numbers are pretty solid for the Yankees this year. So really good numbers across the board here. I love this spot for minus 105, really strong value. And for our second player prop in today's slate, we're sticking with the same Orioles-Yankees game. We're going Kyle Gibson of the Baltimore Orioles over 4.5 hits allowed. We're getting this one for minus 125 over on DraftKings. And unfortunately, I don't really have any data to share with you from this year. This is his first start of the season in Baltimore. So all the data, all the information we have, it's all coming from last year, but it's really, really solid. 8 of his last 10 games, of course, all last season. He's cashed the over, averaging 5.5 hits allowed per game over his last 10 games. If you look at the entire season data from 2024, a 67% hit rate on this over, 20 out of 30 games. He cashed the over, averaging 5.37 hits allowed per game last year with the St. Louis Cardinals. And we do have a little head-to-head data. He did face off with the Yankees once last year back on August 31st, and he did cash the over with 5 hits allowed in what was a 6-5 win for the St. Louis Cardinals. So like I said, there's not a lot to go off of this year. However, again, the insight provided by Outlier, Kyle Gibson has exceeded 4.5 hits in 9 of his last 11 games, averaging 5.5 hits allowed per game. And the Yankees this year, they're one of the best hitting teams in baseball versus right-handed pitchers. Overall this year, 6th in batting average with 256, 3rd in BABIP, top half of the league in hard hitting percentage. Even the last 30 games, batting average 8th in the MLB, a little bit lower ranked, but still 257. Their BABIP, very, very, very solid. Across the board, Yankees are one of the best hitting teams in baseball. Not that surprising with the names they have in their offense. And Kyle Gibson being his first start of the year, I'm not so sure he's going to hold it very well against this Yankees offense. So give me his over here as the second player prop in today's slate. All right, guys, our third player prop in today's slate. We're moving on to the Cardinals-Reds game, 6:40 p.m. first pitch. We're going Gavin Lux of the Cincinnati Reds over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, minus 140 over on BetMGM. The data is really solid on this player prop, but the recent data in particular is very, very strong. 9 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 3.4 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 10 games. Got a nice little ladder here going too. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hopefully we get 6 tonight. Really good numbers here of late for Gavin Lux. And even the overall data is not bad. 15 out of 27 games this year, he's cashed the over. That's a 56% hit rate, averaging 2.19 hits, runs, RBIs per game this year. Of course, it's that last 10 games that's really pushed his numbers into a solid spot. Had a little bit of a cold start to the year in terms of this over. And from a head-to-head perspective, 4 of his last 7 matchups with the St. Louis Cardinals dating back to last year, he's cashed the over. That's a 57% hit rate against St. Louis, averaging 2.14 hits, runs, RBIs per game across their last 7 matchups. And again, they played yesterday. He had 3 hits, 1 run, and 1 RBI in what was a 3-1 win for the Reds. So really good numbers across the board. And if we go down below, it gets even better. Gavin Lux, the insight provided by Outlier, has exceeded 1.5 hit, run, RBI in 10 of his last 11 games, averaging 3.7 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 11. Key matchup stats down below, going up against Miles Mikolas, not exactly one of the best pitchers in baseball right now. 5 plate appearances against Mikolas, again, a small sample size, but he has had some success against him. And looking down low at the splits, it gets even better. Gavin Lux batting .352 this year. Versus right-handed pitchers, it gets even better, a .400 batting average. Versus righties, 179.7 WRC plus. Again, really good numbers. And looking at Miles Mikolas down below, 281 batting average allowed, 5.70 ERA. Again, not very good to start with. Versus left-handed batters, though, he actually gets worse in some categories, specifically the batting average allowed and the WOBA both increase when facing off with left-handed batters like Gavin Lux. So across the board, it looks like we got a pretty solid matchup on our hands here. For minus 140, I know it's a little high in odds, but I think the value is still certainly there for Gavin Lux. And guys, we just hit the 9-minute mark in today's video, so if you are still watching, please go ahead and comment 9 down below. As always, we appreciate those who watch through each and every single video here on the channel. Of course, I know some people are here just for the picks and not to listen. Listen, I will judge you a little bit, but I'm still happy that you're here. Of course, those who do watch through the entire thing and listen to me ramble on and on about the numbers and the data and the stats, I appreciate you guys. It really does mean a lot, and it's very well noted, I will say. So comment 9 down below. Our 4th player prop in today's slate, sticking with the same game, this Cardinals-Reds game, we're going Jordan Walker of the St. Louis Cardinals under 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, minus 135 odds over on BetMGM. Dad is very strong. 8 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the under, averaging 0.8 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 10. So far this year, a 62% hit rate on the under. 16 out of 26 games, Jordan Walker has cashed the under, averaging 1.35 hits, runs, RBIs per game. I'm not sure if I messed up and said over. It's under 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, just to clarify with you guys. But even look at the last 20 game data, a 70% hit rate over his last 20 games. 14 of his last 20, he's cashed the under, averaging 1.15 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 20 games. And if all that solid data didn't do it for you, well, the head-to-head data might help you out here. 6 of his last 6 matchups versus the Reds, dating back to last year, of course, he's cashed the under 100% hit rate, averaging just 0.5 hits, runs, RBIs per game against the Reds across their last 6 matchups. Again, they have played one time this year, just last night, and he did have 1 hit, no run, and no RBIs. And looking down below at the insights and the splits, the insights provided by Outlier, Jordan Walker has failed to exceed 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs in 5 straight games on the road, averaging just 0.4 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 4 road games. And the matchup stats down below are pretty solid. Jordan Walker, again, not having the best year hitting the baseball versus right-handed pitchers, it actually gets worse. 169 batting average, 44.4 WRC plus. Like I said, it wasn't good to begin with. It's actually gotten worse when he's facing off with right-handed pitchers. And Brady Singer this year, again, solid numbers across the board versus right-handed batters, although a smaller sample size, numbers are even better. ERA, batting average, home runs per 9, WOBA, they're all lower when facing off with right-handed batters. So across the board, this is a really, really solid player prop. For minus 135 odds, pretty damn good value. And for our 5th and final player prop in today's slate, we're moving on to the Athletics-Rangers game, 8:05 p.m. first pitch. We're going Shea Langeliers, I believe that's how you say it, under 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, minus 150 over on DraftKings, also BetMGM for minus 150. Again, dad is solid. 8 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the under, averaging 1.1 HRRs per game. Last 20 games, 14 of his last 20, 70% hit rate, averaging 1.7 HRRs per game over his last 20 games, that of course being hits, runs, RBIs. So a really good run here, and even the overall data on the year, a 64% hit rate on this under. 16 out of 25 games, he's cashed the under, averaging 1.8 HRRs per game this year. So really good numbers, and even in the head-to-head department, a bigger sample size here, 15 games head-to-head versus the Athletics, versus the Rangers. 8 of his last 15 matchups against the Texas Rangers, he's cashed the under. That is a 53% hit rate, averaging 3.13 HRRs per game. Now, he's had a couple really big games in here that pushed that average up, but of late, of their last, let's go ahead and see here. He's cashed the under in 6 of his last 9. We'll go ahead and pause for the applause there. 6 of his last 9 matchups against the Rangers, he's cashed the under. They played 4 times already this year, and he's cashed the under in 3 of those 4 games. He definitely can go off like he did on April 23rd, right? He had just less than a week ago. He had 4 hits, 1 run, and 1 RBI. He can have big games against the Rangers. But the data seems to suggest it's a pretty good matchup here for Langeliers. Looking down below at the matchup stats, 7 plate appearances versus Jacob deGrom since 2018. He's actually had some success, 2 hits, 1 home run, and 3 RBIs. Again, smaller sample size, but there has been some success against deGrom here for sure. But again, looking down below at the key matchup stats, Langeliers not having the best year hitting the baseball versus right-handed pitchers, even worse. A 171 batting average, 80.5 WRC plus, and 79 plate appearances is a decent enough sample size now to tell us he really does truly struggle versus right-handed pitchers. And look at Jacob deGrom, who's having a solid year for the most part versus right-handed batters. It gets even better. 0.69. Come on, guys. That 6.9 is coming up everywhere today. That's a sign. Go have fun today. 0.69 ERA, 156 batting average allowed, 171 WOBA. So like I said, you know, the numbers are already good to begin with, but they're even better when facing off with right-handed batters across the board. Just looks like a really solid, good, fun player prop to go ahead and tail. Minus 150, a little high in the odds standpoint. I get it, but I think it's still pretty decent value, understanding that he's got a really good chance to go ahead and cash this under. That's our 5th and final player prop in today's slate. Guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. We'll be back tomorrow with another MLB player prop video, but until then, guys, I hope you're all winners. Enjoy your Tuesday. Let's go ahead and make some money.